All right, guys, look at this. Look at this hair. It's feeling funny to have hair. I haven't had them for such a long time, and it's just, I don't know. I it's funny to have some sensation on your forehead, sensation of hair coming down from your head. Especially after you take off the beanie. You have it on all day. I don't have it on all day, but I have it on a lot, especially when I go out. Your coming door, pull it out, and all this hair. It's just like really, really close to the scalp. It's a great feeling, and also it's warm. Nobody told me that, but I guess I should have known it better. With hair, it's a lot warmer in the winter. It doesn't cover the ear like ever for me, but it does preserve a lot of heat that are escaping from the top of the head. So it feels great to have a bit of hair. I'm not sick of it yet. I know for the longest time I was bald, but now I'm enjoying the time with a little bit of hair. I'm getting a bit of a sus hairline. If I pull it up, like on the side, it's a little bit going backward from here as well. But that's just I guess a part of life. My dad lost hair at mid-30s. I'm close to 30, so I guess I'll start losing hair soon as well. But while I have it, I'm gonna save it up until I can't, and now I gotta shave it off and just rock the bald head for the rest of my life. But right now, this is my go-to. I'm feeling pretty good with it. Rug. Second edition. The first one was a fail. You're supposed to double thread it. The machine, the tufting gun, have 2 threads of yarn going through, and then you tuft it. That way it come out really fluffy, really tight. All the yarns are like thick. The first edition I did, the one that I showed you last time, it wasn't good. I only single threaded. There's a lot of holes and like places that are not filled with yarn, and it just looks not so good. So I put it aside, and now this one, it feels like a real rug. I'm gonna finish the back side with glue later and then cut it off, but today I won't be doing it. This is a Squid Game inspired rug. In case you haven't watched it, it's a great show. I love it. It was fun. It was entertaining. It was short. I binge watched it in a couple days, I think. Highly recommend. All right, today is what? Thursday? Today is Wednesday. Okay, I'm one day late. This week, what do I want to talk about? Last time I told you I want to talk about, what was it? Why do I want to do things myself, right? Okay, let's go back to that. A little bit of context, I guess. Growing up, or all the way up to university, so my early 20s, I never done anything with my hand besides using them to eat and wash myself and stuff like that. Very essential. Those hands are pretty useless. They're just to keep myself alive, to keep me clean, to keep me happy, and whatever. But I started getting to doing things myself, DIY, so to speak, in the recent years, especially after I turned 26, 27. At the very beginning, it was related to my PhD project. It's about wood house building, log building. And that required me to go out and do a little bit of carpentry, a little bit of woodworking. I know it's not like it's something that I didn't really have to do, but as a part of my research, I feel like I should have more exposure or experience, first-hand experience with building houses. So I tried my hand on it, and it was tough, definitely challenging, but also fun. That's an aspect that is not like, at least not a first impression with woodworking, but it was fun. you get to do peeling of the log, you get to do making of the notches, you get to do a little bit of sanding, you get to do renovation with old like window frames, took off from the old houses that might be over 100 years old. So you get to do all of those things, and let me tell you, well, those are fun. Like, hardship aside, those are really fun events. I don't think I was addicted to it because I don't do that much woodworking anymore, but still, I do. If you look at the table that I made for myself, which does wiggle, but it's a table that I make myself. I didn't buy it from IKEA. Not to say buying from IKEA is wrong, but I put this together myself. It's a big working space. It's pretty nice. I like it. So as much as I can, I still do woodworking these days. But this is just like a part of my DIY journey. It was my intro into the DIY world, doing things myself. And later I started doing more things. I make rings with metal pieces. I paint. I fix my own bicycle. I fix my home's pipe, my apartment's pipe. It was broken a couple of times and it was blocked a couple of times in the kitchen. So I gotta do pipe fixing. I got putting a new pipe in the kitchen under the kitchen sink. I started to do more work on my car. My Honda Jazz is old. It's not worth the money to send it to the service center anymore. Every single time over here, labor expenses is quite high in Estonia. It's not the material that costs the most, even although it does cost a bit if you're changing like a major car on your car. But most of the time it's the labor. Labor cost counts a lot. And since I only spent a couple $1,000 on my car originally, and after driving it for a couple years and crashed it a couple times, now the car has depreciated quite a bit. I thought if I want to sell it ever, it will probably go for less than 1,000 quid, 1,000 euro. So is it worth like spending all this money sending it to the service center when you have some minor problem here and there? I'm talking about the light dysfunctions, and some headlight went off once, and the radio broke once because I scraped off the antenna from the top of the roof in the winter trying to shovel off the snow, and things like that. And I tried to change off the fluid in the car as much as I could as well. I haven't figured out how to do oil change myself yet, even though that's not technically difficult. I haven't figured out a way to do it cleanly because, well, it seems like I need quite a bit of tool to jack the car up and then have like some sort of a pan and then get the knob from the bottom of the car open without dripping all those like engine oil on my hand, and also have to dispose those oil safely, environmentally friendly. So with all that in mind, I haven't really changed the oil myself. But everything else, as much as I could, all those things I told you about, changing the antenna up, changing the headlight, changing the liquid in the car, like the wiper liquid and engine coolant, those kind of stuff. I've done those myself. At the very beginning, it was saving money, but later I'm gonna tell you why it goes kind of beyond just saving money. It does save money though. What else do I do? Now I do rugs. I'm trying to make clothes myself as well. It probably wouldn't save a lot of money if you make clothes, because these days you can always find cheap clothes. I think there's an abundance of clothes out there. If you go for discount seasons in those like fast fashion brands, H&M, Zara, you can get like super cheap items because they're out of fashion. That's a big part of their value. So once you take that out of the equation, you're looking at a cheap t-shirt that goes for less than £5. Why do I keep saying pound and quid? I don't live in the UK. Less than €5. All right? So they're super cheap. They're super affordable. They're super good quality in a lot of sense, you know, like, I'm not gonna lie, they have good quality stuff if you look for it, and simply made with machine. It's not bad, you know. I'm not shitting on their quality. They're big international conglomerate. They have all those money to do quality control and to make sure they don't have defective items out there on the market. So I'm not shitting on the quality. I'm just saying, like, I would love to make my own clothes, even though it might cost a little bit more, right? What else have I done by myself? I painted the wall in the office by myself. I painted the wall at my home by myself, which was constantly criticized by pretty much everybody who visited the place because it wasn't done like very nicely. There are corners and under the radiator that I can't reach to. I just leave it like the original color in, and I walk around it. So it looked kind of like a pretty casual work, pretty casual job there. But that's not the point. The point is I did it myself, right? I went to Bauhaus in Las Namas and I bought like bucket of paint and some tapes to tape around the corner and some plastic to put on the ground, all those stuff. And I painted it myself. It took me days, and I had to sleep in the middle of the room with some paint contaminated beddings and mattresses. But end of the day, at least end of the week, I was able to do it. I was able to pull it off, so to speak, just by myself, you know? I know some other things, I know I'm not supposed to flex so hard, but I change light bulbs myself as well, you know? I go up there and I change the light bulb. I have to figure out what is the socket, what's the right measurement, what is the light color I want, the warm light or the cold light. Ridiculous, right? For somebody who's like in his late 20s and he's flexing about changing light bulbs. But let me tell you what, it's not really flexing, because for me, that's really something that I never did before. Not really. I did grow up with a dad, right? I wasn't a single family kid, but nobody was ever asking me to do anything by myself. I wasn't asked. I wasn't asked to wash dishes. I wasn't asked to clean toilet. I wasn't asked to cook for myself or for anybody else. I didn't ask to change a bulb. I wasn't asked to paint a wall. We didn't even have a car growing up, so let alone changing engine oil in cars. Like, I wasn't asked to do any of those. And the reason being is probably because they want me to spend more time on studying or just, you know, studying. It's understandable, you know, it's understandable. I think my dad knows a little bit about DIYing. I think he does. And I think he enjoys it, but he doesn't do it all that often, you know. He doesn't do it all that often because there's simply no need for it. Labor in China is so cheap. It's undervalued, to be honest. Like most of the things when you're buying from the market over here, you're paying for the labor, not the material. You're paying for the human factor in there. But in China, you're paying for the material. I know, it's bizarre, right? You're mostly, if you're buying like furnishing things, and the installation will be a lot cheaper than the product. But over here, it can go reverse. That means if you're buying like a table, it might cost more to ship it and get it installed. For example, a kitchen, the installation fee might be quite like a few thousand euros, right? On top of the price you paid for the kitchen cabinet and the kitchen complex that you got for yourself. That is unimaginable in China, at least like 10 years, 20 years ago. I don't know about right now. Maybe it has changed because I heard like Human labor had gone up quite a bit. But back then, when I was growing up, none of those were expensive. You can go down to the bicycle shop if you have like a broken bicycle, say the chain fell off or a flat tire, and you get it quickly fixed. You're basically just paying for the tire and you're paying for the broken chain, right? That's all you're paying. And on top of that, you might pay less than €1, definitely less than €1 for the labor. It's essentially zero. That's what I'm trying to get at. So that kind of a general environment, I'm not attributing all of the factors of not doing DIY to this external factor, but it is one of those factors. So hear me out. I think the cheap labor does contribute to the fact that most people are feeling reluctant to do things themselves because simply they don't need to do it. They don't have any reason to do it, at least not in a financial sense. Delegating those jobs to a third party or somebody else in general will not cost you anything, pretty much. So why would I do it? If I can do it for free, if I can do it to near free, very low fee, why would I do it myself? Why would I get my hand dirty? I guess it's a human instinct to delegate jobs to other people at a low cost or at no cost, while you can enjoy the free time yourself doing things that you would like to do. Which is, well, that doesn't matter. Free time is always better than getting occupied with minuscule items and minuscule jobs and minuscule assignments, right? That's an external factor. That's an environment that I kind of feel like might have made it difficult for us to get into DIY. But more importantly, that is the internal factor, the factor that is intrinsic to me or to my family growing up. Let me think. See, when it comes to intrinsic, I can no longer speak for my parents. I can only speak for myself. Their motivation of not doing so much on their own is a mystery. However, in my case, I was never quite confident to do things myself, at least when it comes to job with your hand, right? What do I mean by saying that I wasn't confident? I mean, I felt all those things that involves handwork, handicraft, doing things with materials requires expertise, requires training, requires knowledge, requires know-how. They require a lot of prior experience. And those are things that I didn't have. And I was not feeling encouraged. I didn't feel like that I was in a position to try it out and embrace those potential failures. I don't know, but there's a high likelihood that my first trial of painting the wall would end in failure or would end in drizzling the paint everywhere on the table that is next to the wall. Yes, it's very likely. Actually, as a matter of fact, speaking from experience, that did happen. Just like the rug making, the first rug was a failure. Just like painting, the first painting was a failure. Just like pretty much everything. Like, I do screw up a little bit, sometimes majorly. But the thing is, I wasn't in a position that I would feel like comfortable with all those first time trial and errors. I wasn't feeling like I was in a good position to do that and get away with it. By that I mean my parents were probably not gonna be happy if I tainted the table with all those drizzles of paint. So on and so forth. I never felt like I was in like either a financially comfortable place or a mentally comfortable place to try an error. Error or tolerance to error was extremely low, at least in my own case, right? I don't know if I force my way through it, if I actually do all those things. Anyway, if I just like went with my gut, how would it turn out? I don't know. Never did have the gut to try. And it was scary. I know it sounds ridiculous, but changing the pipe, or changing the light, or changing the bicycle tire, the inner tire, fixing it up, patching it up, all those things, even though they're so minuscule, even though they're so, I guess, sounds like they're day to day and sounds like non-significant events, for me, first time trying my hand on it was significant. They were very significant. They were very challenging in a very embodied way. When my body is at work, when my hand is occupied with physical task, when you do want to pull out the inner tire without puncturing it more, when you do want to take down the front bumper from your Honda Jazz without dropping it on the ground and breaking it into pieces, when you do want to paint your wall without having too much paint all of your shirt and pants that you forgot to change, when you're trying to maneuver through all these little tiny things, you realize all your attention goes to your body. All your attention goes to your muscle control, it goes to your mental control, it goes to your kinetic control. Your body becomes so used, so fully occupied, and that is amazing. That's a sensation that I don't get just doing hypothetical imagination, just doing speculation on speculation on speculation, on working on computer and then transforming ideas into ideas onto more ideas. Those are things that you don't experience on just intellectual work. Yeah. Yeah. What can I say? Do it yourself. I like it. I want to do everything myself. And it's beyond money now, you know? I'm at the comfortable place where my income from doing the things I do, English teaching and personal training, I can live a very comfortable life without doing anything else. I can just do my professional, what is so-called the career thing that I'm supposed to do, and just hire a professional to do everything else. I can do all those, but I prefer not to. I really prefer not to. I think that linkage between my mind and my body, it needs to be worked constantly through handwork. If I don't, that linkage is got get weaker and weaker and weaker. Eventually, you wouldn't feel so connected with your body anymore. I try to maintain a high level of connectivity there. I try to do workout. I try to go out and run and use my body in different way. But nothing works quite like handwork. I'm talking about when you guys go to the gym. Again, physical exercise bring me a lot of joy and satisfaction and physical comfort as well. However, just going for a treadmill run in the gym or have some sessions with lifting, it's different. Your body works in automation in some cases. You know, like when you run on treadmill, you don't have to look out for anything. You just kind of pedal along with your feet. And when I'm working on, lifting and stuff, there's a certain kind of a connection, muscle-mind connection there, but it's very singular. It is very singular. It's not complex. If I want to work on my bicep, the mind only goes to this one particular muscle group, and the only indicator of that connection is soreness, is contraction, right? Contraction and the relief of the contraction. But the body is not just muscle. The body is not just bone, muscle, and tendons. The muscle is a complex system with a lot of involvement of all these physical matters that is in you. And to work all those in tandem, to work all those in collaboration, you need to have a concentration that is multi-layers, that is goal-driven, that is at least performance-driven, task-driven. So yeah, I feel like when I'm working on the rug, my body works very optimally to make a rug. And I feel when I'm fixing my tire on my bicycle, my body works optimally on fixing the tire. And those are very specific tasks, and those requires very different set of connection, a connection between my mind and my body. So every single time you do something different, every single time you use your hand on a different way, DIYing something, there is a new form of connection between your mind and your body, and you're exerting your ideas into this outside world and see how it come back. And those feedback is stimulation, and it stimulates your body too in very different ways. Physical sensation that it brings you are tremendous if you just give it some second to feel about it. I feed off it. I like it, to be honest. You know, now I feel like even if I don't have a place to stay, I would comfortably live without money. You know, money is easy to come by. It's pretty easy to be not starving this day. I know I'm in a privileged spot living in Estonia, having so many opportunity like available to me, but that's not the point. I'm saying that you should feel the same way. I should feel the same way wherever I am, right? Even if I'm in China, even if I'm in some like less developed area of the world, I should feel the same way about my own ability. I know I'm in a very privileged place for saying this, but I embrace that privilege. I embrace it, you know, and I'm gonna make the most out of this privilege. That I'm able-bodied, that I have all my hands, all my limbs that are available to me. I'm healthy. I have a good appetite. My mind works well. All those things. I'm privileged, obviously. Estonia is tremendously safe. It got a booming economy. Things are going well here as well. So I'm in a good place. But that doesn't mean I should feel guilty about it. I'm saying that I accept this privilege that I was given, that I'm in, and I'm gonna make most of it. I'm not gonna just stay here and be happy, but instead I'm gonna use these opportunities as my advantage, and I'm gonna keep pushing and see where I can lead myself to, you know? With this DIY, with all this doing things by myself, it's rewarding, it's fun, to say the least. If one day something goes wrong, God forbid something happens, and all those mirage of prosperity is gone, I'll be okay. I wouldn't go. I'll still stay here, probably. And I'll start doing everything by myself. I'll build houses, even if there's no medicine, even if there's a shortage of supplies. I'll do everything from the start, from the scratch. And I wouldn't hesitate. I know I'll probably starve, I'll probably suffer, I'll probably freeze. But if I make it, that is, if I make it through the winter, I'll come back better. I'll come back stronger, and I'll be more capable. And nothing can stop that. Oh, and if it does stop me, that means I died. In that case, it's a glorious death as well. I've been thinking about this one thing. I don't know if it bothers you, but I've been thinking about this one thing about Chinese people, about me, about my countrymen. Nowadays we're rich, we're getting richer, we're going to places, we're buying up properties. I heard this documentary about people buying up properties in Canada, Vancouver specifically, and priced out the locals from their neighborhood. And the general sentiment is foreign investment without warranty, without any restriction is dangerous, and it might jeopardize the local community's life and well-being. And yes, in a very humanitarian way of thinking, I do agree with that, but let me simplify this, and this is just like in my own way of thinking. This is how I interpreted this, right? Let's imagine there's only 2 people in this world, not 2 countries, not billions of people involved, but simplified just as a more minimalistic example of transaction. No matter if it's 2 billion or 2 people, exchange of goods and efforts is on the same foundation. It's exchange. Exchange Exchange, exchange. I have goods, I have effort, I exchange your goods or your effort. That's it, end of the day. So let's say there's two people in the entire world. And this person one is called Canada, and this person two is called China. And Canada say, I want a bunch of stuff that you produce. I want made in China this, I want made in China that. And at the end of the day, I give you this little thing that I call coupon. Or you can call it money, right? I give you all these paper tokens of goodwill for all the things that you use your effort to make, so I don't have to do it myself. Basins, tubs, cups, all those stuff that I could do myself, but I prefer not to do because I want to do other things, fun things, skiing or whatever it might be. So I'm just gotta use this coupon that I printed out. So later you can use this coupon on me, and you can ask my effort, right? So in the short term, you see, those are not high value stuff. Those are very low value stuff. So China didn't get a lot of coupons. It got like 1 coupon, 2 coupons, 3 coupon, 4 coupon, and it doesn't buy anything back. You just keep accumulating all the coupon. And Canada was like, whoa, this is amazing. I'm getting all this free basins and tubs and cups and whatever. And teddy bears. And all the stuff. It's almost like it's free. There's almost no consequence. All I have to do is just keep printing coupon and hand it over to China. Right? That's awesome. And it doesn't seem to require much from my side. So that's super, super good, looking good for Canada. And one day, China showed up at the front door of Canada and said, look, this is a fucking whole basket of coupon you have sent me. A whole basket full of it. And you know what? Now I want your fucking house. Get the fuck out. Yeah. Don't take those stuff. You know? Don't take those stuff. Don't take those plastic bags. Don't take those plastic stuffed animals. Don't take any of those. Be very careful about what you spend money on. I know Spotify only costs a few bucks a month. Great deal. Right? I know H&M only costs about 20 euro for a shirt. Great stuff. Everything seems so great. But you see, 1 day or 2 day or 3 day or maybe 1 person, 2 person, it wouldn't matter. But if millions of people do the same shit, you're gonna have to pay the piper eventually. You're gonna have to pay for the consequence, and that consequence is unexpected because the capital, the money that you spend, accumulated like a river. You're a stream. You might not even be a stream. You might be a dew. You might be a drop of water. But then millions of people unconsciously spending, pouring, accumulating. And finally, this river of capitalism, this river of money, is gotta be maneuvered by a handful of big company, powerful people, and it's beyond your control. And you live the consequence. I'm not saying those specific people in specific area in Vancouver, they're unconscious people. Maybe they're extremely conscious, but you know what? You know what? The world doesn't care. The world cares about capital, and when it does move in quantity, the individuals, they suffer, right? So what can I do? Some people say I can't do shit because, like you said, capital talks over everybody else, but nah. I'm gonna start with myself. I'm not gonna buy shit I don't need, even though it's cheap, even though it's a little bit of a convenience, even though it looks like that, I'm not gonna do it. Yeah, I'm gonna start this by myself. Maybe one day it'll be easier to unplug myself, but hey, who knows? Before that happens, I'm gonna keep rugging and doing other shit. you know what? This Friday, something is gonna happen. I'll see you in the next Squid Game.